Our friend Daria isn't that called a cinephile?
Yeah.
And that's somebody who loves movies.
Correct.
Look at me. Doing great on a Monday, Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Doing great on a Monday, Tuesday. And you went out to see a brand new movie. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so I went and saw Inside Out 2, a follow-up to, I believe, the 2015 movie, the first Inside Out by Pixar.
Okay.
So the first one is kind of considered a modern classic. People loved it. It follows a young girl named Riley growing up, going through some changes, and then she has these emotions in her head that are personifying what she's feeling. So this one was much anticipated. I loved it.
You loved it?
It was really, really good.
Well, okay, first of all, I am a little surprised because you're a hard person to please with movies sometimes.
But this one was really good.
And you were suspicious going into this.
I was. Sequels are usually a cash grab. Pixar sequels do not have the best track record unless you're the Toy Story franchise. This was really good.
Wow, okay.
So I enjoyed it. I think a lot of people are going to see themselves in this movie. So in the first movie, Riley is 11, and she's just moved across the country with her parents, and so she's going through a really hard time losing her friend. She goes through this phase where she tries to run away. And so this one, the follow-up is she's now 13. So again, she's got these characters in her head that personify what she's going through. And in this movie, she is dealing with the onset of high school and she's starting puberty. And we all know how much fun that is.
Oh, boy.
So the original emotions, joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust are joined by some new emotions because as you get older, things get a little bit more complicated. Anxiety is the chief one that you've probably seen in the trailers. So anxiety is one of the main characters in this one. She's kind of the main villain, but she means well. So anxiety thinks that she knows better than any of the other emotions how to run Riley's mind. She thinks she knows what's best for Riley. So she banishes the original emotions and basically declares herself supreme dictator of Riley's mind.
Oh.
There's a scene. I mean, it's just the metaphor for what is going on is just so brilliant. There's a scene where anxiety is basically kind of enslaved some of the other workers in Riley's mind and is having them draft worst case scenarios of what's going on so that Riley can, quote, be prepared. I mean, this was just such a joy to watch and just so spot on. So by the end, anxiety has made a mess of things, but joy and anxiety have this really touching conversation about how anxiety needs to let go and realize that there are things that she can and things that she can't control. I think a lot of people are going to see themselves in this. I think Christian parents taking their kids to this could even use this as a springboard for like, how do Christians deal with anxiety? Like we still have these feelings, but we don't have to deal with them alone. Again, it's a great metaphor for what's going on in our heads and those transformative teen years and not letting anxiety control us. A big message here is that there are no good or bad emotions, but there are healthy and unhealthy ways to deal with them.
Right. Oh, good. Okay. Mm-hmm. So clearly they consulted some psychologists when they were writing this.
So for the first one, the creator of the movie was inspired by his own daughter, who is 11, which is the same age as the character in the first one. Yeah. And his daughter is talking about how she feels like there's just changes going on inside of her. And that's where the concept comes from, with these emotions kind of warring as she gets older and things become more complicated. So these people have clearly gone through stuff, probably consulted with psychologists, and have their own children that they are speaking from experience with.
That's very good.
So even though this is a very family-friendly movie, I just want to put that out there.
You're saying very family-friendly?
It is PG. So there are a few things. There's some very mild adult jokes that are going to go right over the kids' heads. Just be aware those are in there.
But PG is pretty rare today, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So I didn't, as a non-parent, I didn't see anything that would be alarming, something like, no, don't take your kids to see this. That being said, even though it is a family-friendly movie, I actually think this is a movie for older kids, teens, and adults. Huh. I got so much out of this movie. I think your teens especially are going to, because Riley is a teenager, becoming a teenager, trying to fit in with this new set of peers in high school. The lessons are more mature and they're definitely aimed at an older audience, even though I think your younger kids are still going to enjoy it, still probably going to get something out of it. Just be aware, if you've got like really young kids and you're not ready to have the puberty conversation with them, I would not take them to this because that might just be more than you're willing to deal with your 5-year-old right now.
That's a good point.
It's a really smart movie. A lot of movies, kids movies especially, like, we're at a kids movie, so all the trailers before it were for kids movies. And I leaned over to Jimmy when we're watching these trailers. I said, I feel like kids' movies weren't this dumb when we were growing up. They were so annoying. But this is a pretty smart movie for kids. It's not talking down to its audience. It's bringing them into the conversation. Like, hey, we know these are things going on in your heads, and like here's some ways to think about it to maybe help you cope and understand it a little bit better.
That's wonderful, because it is hard to teach kids about not only what emotions are which, but like I think I've had times where it's difficult to describe that an emotion is a thing and we must respond to it in a healthy way, as opposed to it's a good or bad feeling.
Right. So anxiety is kind of the villain, but by the end, they've found ways to relate to her better, to help her cope with her own anxieties. And they've got like they're helping her realize like, these are ways you can be helpful and these are things you just need to stay out of type of thing.
Yeah, I could see it as a way to really help teach, those tweens. Like to spur on a conversation, because you have something to refer back to.
Right.
Remember when anxiety did this or when joy did that? And
I kid you not, yesterday, Jimmy and I were having a conversation and he referenced this movie.
Did he really?
He really did.
Any final thoughts for us? You're saying just go for it, huh?
Yeah. As a sequel, it's very good. I think it might be better than the original.
Oh, wow.
The animation is beautiful. It's really a continuation of the story, but still feeling fresh. I think you should go see it.
Yeah, and I think we're more and more in an era where we're talking about emotions. I think Christians need to be aware of what emotions are and how to deal with them in a healthy way. Yeah. Because some good friends of mine have made it very clear that they think our spiritual health is directly correlated to our emotional health. Like if you're not emotionally healthy, it's going to be almost impossible for you to be spiritually healthy. So having a springboard for discussion on that's really great. Thanks, Daria.
Yeah, no problem. I had fun.
You got to keep going to see movies for us.
Right.
It's not often movies come up where I'm like, yes, I need or want to see this. So next time something comes up, I'll let you know.
Sounds great. Thanks so much.